Okay, well now that's out of the way. Since we're doing hot takes, I like to do hot takes and icks, so you can name them. Give me your spiritual spiritual hot takes, or your academia or academic.
Spiritual hot takes.
Oh, don't you love the kids screaming?
Maybe we'll start with academia hot takes.
Okay.
Academics are some of the most insecure professionals out there.
Really?
Yeah, because like, why would you have to study something in depth for like 8 years and go through this like whole hierarchy from like undergraduate to masters to PhD to postdoc to associate professor to tenured professor. It's such a long career progression with so much time invested in it. To still be like I'm not necessarily I'm really insecure that this was critiqued, this or that. So I think academia actually, like, what people don't realize is that sometimes in going further in academia, and it's something I think about all the time, like if I want to do a PhD or this or that, I'm like almost willingly putting my mental health in question, because so many people I know who are doing PhDs are like borderline burnt out or already burnt out and like really struggling with their mental health. So
you want to prepare yourself.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I'm here for the pursuit of knowledge, or maybe like social and academic capital that comes with doing a PhD and pursuing this, so I can say I'm qualified. But yeah, most academics are really insecure, actually. Yeah, that's my hot take. Yeah.
Okay, you want to do one more for spirituality or
spiritual hot take? What is my spiritual hot take?
Try some. This is delicious. If not, we can move on.
I think we can move on.
Okay.
Yeah. I think my spiritual hot take was already about like New Age spiritualism and like the state of white people's ancestors. And I didn't really go in depth about that, but that's for another episode.
That's for another episode. We gotta have something for next time. My thing was, for me, I'll give one for me. I hate when people use like, this is also like for therapy talk as well. When people use that, it's like you're using the right words, but I feel like you're throwing a shot at me.
Spiritual gaslighting.
Exactly.
Therapeutic gaslighting.
You're using the right words, and it's like I can't fight you. You're slippery, I can't.
Yeah, and you know what? Those are some of the most toxic people.
Very much so.
Very toxic, because they'll be like,
"What are you paying your therapist for?"
Like, yeah, to validate your emotions, and you will like that therapist. So you'll keep coming back to them.
Right. Let me get in that room with you. Let me get in that booth too. Let me see. Let me tell you the other side of the story. Because that's the other thing with therapy that I don't trust people who don't bring other people every once in a while into the therapy sessions, because like you need that. You need someone to also give that other perspective for your therapist too, because they only know you through their interactions and your narration of what your the history of you, right? So if you don't bring that dynamic in of someone who's like, no, this bitch lies, or no, that didn't happen like that, or she's dramatic, like how would they know?
Yeah.
So I don't trust people who don't do that.
Bring your therapist to the cookout.
Literally.
Spiritual hot take.
Literally. Yeah. But people who use those words to weaponize it, it's like it really gets under my skin.
This happened recently, and I won't get into like the drama or the tea of it, but like in my family, two people were beefing, and basically one of my family members said something when I didn't agree with them, and they were also in this beef with this other family member. I was like, yeah, I think this person's setting a boundary, and I think you're not respecting it, and that's kind of the issue here, right? That's my hot take on that. And that person's response was, yeah, both of you clearly don't know what a boundary is. Let me define a boundary for you. And I'm like, see, that's spiritual gaslighting or therapeutic gaslighting, because you trying to redefine a boundary,
right?
When everybody's boundaries are different, they look different, right? And I don't think you can actually necessarily define what a boundary is, because it's a way of saying, I can't accept that, you've gone too far, and that pushes me to over the limit.
Right.
So it's entirely personal what a boundary is. And that could be very tight for some people, right? You could be like, my boundary is like, never say my name. Don't speak my name,
ever.
Right?
Don't look me in the eye.
And don't even breathe my air.
Face this way, like
exactly. Don't turn your back to me. Like, there's so many ways in which someone could set a boundary that seems like ridiculous to you, but that's their boundary, right? Whether that protects them or closes them off or isolates them from you, you don't get to decide.
Right.
what that boundary is.
Right.
So in that moment when this family member was explaining, like, I don't think either of you understand what a boundary is, so maybe go back and talk to your therapist. I'm like, yeah, that's not really giving the way you think it is. So I would say, go back, try that again, because communication wise, it's not giving the way you think it is. Mm-hmm. And then the response was, oh, I really don't appreciate that. It seems really condescending. And I was like, again, try that again. Like, take some time, calm your nervous system, and then we can come back to that. And this is no shade to this family member or anything like that, but it's just one of those, like, it's an example realizations of like, okay, it's great that you've gone to therapy and also not, but trying to get lost on like the semantics of like what we're talking about, like, oh, that's gaslighting. Or no, oh, that's a boundary. You crossed my boundary. Or, oh, you don't respect my needs, right? Trying to get lost in the semantics of that is useless. It's futile.
And sometimes I feel like people take... So I've been going to therapy since a very young age. I did take a break for a little bit, but just the way my life was set up, I was in therapy from a very young age. And I think that I understand the usage of therapy in a different way, because I also it's for me, therapy is the stuff that I go through, but it's also I don't even know how to explain it. Basically, I don't implement what the therapist says for me onto other people, and I feel like a lot of people with New Age, where that gaslighting, that toxic, is they're implementing the things that the therapist is saying onto other people. It's like
they're trying to My therapist says that, and therefore you should do that too.
Right.
No, you should go to therapy. Right. Figure out what your therapist wants you to do.
And I also feel like because people use therapy as an excuse to cut people off or hold them to unrealistic standards. Oh, you're being toxic. Oh, whatever. Well, girl, like, you should extend me grace because I also have my own stuff that I'm going through, or they use it as an excuse to treat people any kind of way. The toxic people.
I think it can also go both ways, because I think when you do really start going to therapy, I think a good therapist is going to really teach you like how to show up for your needs, not how to tell other people how to be, but to basically set limits and also boundaries.
May I have a bite?
Yeah, go for it. In teaching other people like how you are and where you're at in the process and how to understand you. And I think it's a fine line with the boundaries and the this and the that, because I think there was like almost like therapy talk fatigue a couple of years ago, or even last year, where people were just like, I never want to hear the word gaslighting again. I never want this or that, because it makes it feel like we can't have like regular conversations and everyone's like malicious and out to get you.
Right.
And I don't think these are bad words. When you say to someone, yeah, that feels like you're gaslighting me.
No, I don't
people
think
take it very like, oh my God, what are you saying about me? You're saying, it's like, no, we all do this to different ways, because to varying extents. No, we don't. Actually, no, that's not true. Well, we don't all gaslight, but we are humans. We are people who do want what we want out of other people.
Gaslighting is a form of manipulation, right? So sometimes we can manipulate situations.
And we all manipulate. It's something we learn as children.
Right. So I think that gaslighting is just a buzzword version, or a hot, popular way to, describe a form of manipulation. And I think that's what you were trying to get at. We all manipulate each other in a certain way.
Yeah.
No. And go ahead. Take as much as you want. For me, I think that I think that there's a way you can communicate without making it seem like you're imposing on other people. I think that it comes from people not holding someone to a certain standard, right? It has like a floral thing inside of it. I think my reservation or my ick comes from the fact that you can hold people to a certain standard and have certain expectations, especially if it's a deeper relationship, but you shouldn't. It's the knowing and the, I'm holier than thou. It's the attitude and everything that comes with it. But either way,
right?
That's our icks. That's our hot takes. I mean, there's not much else to develop beyond that.
Think about that.
Think about it. Take it with you.
It's a hat.